One tech billionaire made a choice so dangerous, so unthinkable, that what he discovered will leave you speechless. He became invisible in his own home. And within 72 hours, he witnessed something that would change everything. Here's a question that will haunt you tonight. If someone you trusted was tormenting your children behind closed doors, how far would you go to expose them? Would you confront them? Hire investigators? Or would you do something so extreme it could either save your family or eradicate you? Before we dive into this shocking story, smash that subscribe button and hit the like icon so you never miss these incredible tales. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from right now. Let's begin. The wine glass shattered against the marble floor. Daniel Hartwell froze behind the rose bush, his pruning shears trembling in his blistered hands. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his Malibu mansion, he watched his 8-year-old daughter Sophia crumple to her knees, blood trickling from a cut on her arm. "Clean it up," Christine hissed, standing over the child with cold fury. "And if you mention this to your father when he calls from Tokyo tonight, I promise you'll regret it." But Daniel wasn't in Tokyo. He was right here, disguised as the new groundskeeper, watching his wife reveal who she truly was. And this was only day 3. 72 hours earlier, Daniel had sat in his Century City office tower, staring at a photograph that had arrived anonymously in his email. The image showed Sophia with a bruise on her shoulder. Just one sentence below it. "Ask your daughter what happened when you were at your last board meeting." His hands had shaken as he'd called home. "Sweetheart, Daddy heard you got hurt. What happened?" The silence on the other end lasted too long. Then Sophia's small voice, careful and rehearsed. "I fell down, Daddy. I'm clumsy." But Daniel had heard something else in that pause. Terror. He'd called his attorney Michael Torres immediately. "I need you to help me do something insane." "How insane are we talking?" "I'm going to fake a business trip to Tokyo and disguise myself as our new groundskeeper. I need to see what happens in my house when I'm supposedly gone." Michael had stared at him like he'd lost his mind. "That's not insane. That's potentially career-ending. If Christine finds out, then I need to make sure she doesn't." Daniel leaned forward. "Michael, I built a tech empire from nothing. I can certainly disappear in my own home. But I need help. Someone to play me on video calls. A professional disguise. And I need it done in 48 hours. Why the rush? Because I have another board meeting in Singapore in 2 weeks. If something's happening to my kids, I can't wait that long to find out." The next day, Daniel hired Ricardo Silva, an actor with an uncanny resemblance to him. They spent 6 hours getting his mannerisms right, his speech patterns, the way he moved his hands when he talked. Then Daniel went to a theatrical supply company in downtown LA and spent $8,000 on a professional disguise. When he looked in the mirror, a weathered man in his late 50s stared back. Gray beard, sun-damaged skin, tired eyes. Thomas Garrett, the new groundskeeper. A man his wife would never look at twice. That evening, he'd told Christine about his trip to Tokyo. 6 weeks? She'd arranged imported orchids in a crystal vase, not looking at him. That seems excessive. The investors are demanding in-person negotiations. I can't refuse. Of course not. She'd smiled then, and something about it had sent ice down his spine. "We'll manage perfectly fine. Actually, this might be good for the children. They've become far too dependent on you. Too dependent on their own father." The words had echoed in his mind all night. The next morning, Thomas Garrett arrived at the service entrance at dawn. Maria Sanchez, their housekeeper of 2 months, answered the door with a warm smile. "You must be the new landscape specialist. I'm Maria." "Thomas, ma'am. Pleased to meet you." As Maria showed him around the property, Daniel studied her carefully. She was 28, with kind eyes and a quiet strength. He'd noticed her before, the way she interacted with Sophia and Ethan. There was genuine warmth there. Then Christine appeared in the kitchen doorway, and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. "Is this the landscaper?" "Yes, Mrs. Hartwell, Thomas Garrett." Christine's gaze swept over him with absolute dismissal. In his worn clothes and fake beard, he was invisible to her. "Let's hope you're more competent than your predecessor. I have standards, and I don't tolerate mediocrity." "I'll do my best, ma'am." "See that you do. Incompetence is like a disease. It spreads." She turned on her designer heels and disappeared into the house, leaving a trail of expensive perfume that smelled like poison. For the first 6 hours, Daniel worked in the California sunshine, his executive hands blistering around unfamiliar tools. But around noon, something happened that made his blood run cold. Sophia and 4-year-old Ethan came outside with Maria. The children looked different than they had just 3 days ago when he'd left for his trip. Quieter, their shoulders hunched. Sophia held Ethan's hand too tightly, like she was afraid to let go. "Good afternoon," Daniel said softly, keeping his head down. "Hello?" Sophia whispered, and Daniel's heart shattered at the sound. Where was his bright, laughing daughter? This child sounded defeated. Then Christine's voice cut through the air like a blade. "Children, inside, now." They flinched, actually flinched, and then they ran. Maria stood frozen, her jaw tight. She glanced at Daniel, and in that look he saw everything he needed to know. She'd witnessed something bad. "How long have you worked here?" Daniel asked carefully. 2 months. Maria's voice was quiet. "The children were different when I started. Happier? What changed?" Maria looked toward the house, then back at him. "Sometimes houses have different atmospheres depending on who's present and who's absent. You notice things." "What kinds of things?" She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "Children shouldn't be afraid in their own home. But these two..." She trailed off. "I've seen this before, in another house where I worked. I stayed quiet then because I needed the job. I've regretted it every day since." Before Daniel could respond, a crash echoed from inside the house, followed by Ethan's scream. Both of them ran towards the sound. Through the kitchen window, Daniel saw it. Christine had Ethan by the arm, her grip so tight the child's skin was white. On the floor lay his beloved stuffed penguin, the one Jennifer had given him before she died. "I've told you 1,000 times," Christine's voice was pure venom. "No dragging filthy toys through my clean house!" "Pingu," Ethan sobbed, reaching for it desperately. "You're 4 years old. Time to grow up." Christine released him, grabbed the penguin, and walked toward the trash can. Daniel's vision went red. That penguin was the last thing Jennifer had given their son before the aneurysm took her. Christine knew that. She knew, and she dropped it in the trash. Ethan's wail of anguish made Daniel move toward the door, but Maria grabbed his arm. "You can't, not yet. She'll know something's wrong." "That's my son!" "And if she realizes you're here, she'll be more careful. You'll never get proof." Maria's grip tightened. "Trust me, I'll handle this." She rushed inside. Through the window, Daniel watched her approach Christine. "Mrs. Hartwell, please. I can wash it in minutes." Christine spun on her. "Did I ask for your opinion?" "No, ma'am, but the toy has sentimental value. I don't care about sentiment. I care about order, discipline, structure." Christine stepped closer to Maria, her voice dropping to something dangerous. "You're the housekeeper, not the parent. Know your place." "Yes, ma'am," Maria said quietly. The moment Christine left the room, Maria retrieved the penguin from the trash and quickly washed it in the sink. She knelt beside Ethan, who was still crying, and whispered something Daniel couldn't hear. The little boy's sobs gradually quieted. Sophia appeared from the hallway and immediately went to her brother, pulling him into a hug. "It's okay, Ethan. It's okay." She was 8 years old and comforting her baby brother because no one else would. Daniel gripped the window frame until his knuckles went white. He'd been gone on business trips dozens of times since marrying Christine 18 months ago. How many times had this happened? How many times had his children suffered while he was in meetings, closing deals, building his empire? That night, in his cheap motel room, Daniel peeled off the fake beard and stared at his real face in the mirror. His phone buzzed with a video call request. Christine. He didn't answer. Instead, he texted Ricardo, "She's calling. You're up." 30 seconds later, his phone showed the call connecting. On the screen, Daniel appeared in a Tokyo hotel room that Ricardo had carefully staged. "Hello, darling," Ricardo said, his impression perfect. "How's Tokyo?" Christine's voice was honey-sweet. "Exhausting. These negotiations are brutal. I'm sure everything's perfect here. The children have been so well-behaved. You'd be proud." Well-behaved. The word made Daniel want to vomit. After the call ended, Daniel sat in the darkness and made a decision. He couldn't wait 2 weeks. He couldn't even wait 1. He needed to accelerate this. Tomorrow he would push harder. Watch closer, because something told him the worst was yet to come. He had no idea how right he was. Day 4 started at 5:47 a.m. with screaming. Daniel, already dressed in his disguise, was approaching the house when he heard Christine's voice explode from an upstairs window. "Are you stupid? Are you actually mentally deficient?" He crept beneath Sophia's bedroom window and heard his daughter crying. I tried. Trying isn't good enough. Your father built an empire, and you can't even make a bed properly." Daniel peered carefully over the window ledge. Christine stood over Sophia's bed, the sheets half stripped. His daughter, in her pajamas, was frantically trying to smooth every wrinkle while tears streamed down her face. Again, it's still crooked. "Please, I'm doing my best." The slap echoed like a gunshot. Daniel's hand went to the window, ready to rip it open, but he forced himself to stop. Not yet. Not yet. He needed this on recording. His hand shook as he pulled out his phone and started recording through the gap in the curtain. "Your best is pathetic," Christine hissed. "Do it again. And if it's not perfect this time, no breakfast for either of you." Sophia's hands trembled as she started over, and that's when Daniel saw it. His daughter's arms. They were thinner than they'd been a month ago. Noticeably thinner. How long had Christine been withholding food? At breakfast, Daniel got his answer. He watched through the kitchen window as Christine served herself a full plate. Scrambled eggs, bacon, fresh croissants, berries. Then she prepared the children's plates. Sophia got 3 spoonfuls of eggs and half a slice of toast. Ethan got even less. "That's sufficient," Christine said coldly when Sophia's stomach audibly growled. "May I please have a little more?" Sophia asked, her voice barely a whisper. Christine's fork clattered against her plate. The sound was like a warning shot. "Are you questioning my judgment?" "No, ma'am." "Do you want to become fat and lazy?" "No, ma'am." "Then eat what you're given, and be grateful you're getting anything at all." Daniel's recording captured every word, every cruel intonation, every moment of calculated abuse. When Christine left to get ready for her day, Maria immediately returned with a plate of food. Sliced apples, cheese, crackers. She set it between the children. "Quickly," she whispered, "before she comes back." Both children ate like they were starving. Because they were. Daniel's mind raced. He had evidence now. The slap. The food deprivation. But something told him to wait. There was more. There had to be more. That afternoon, he found out just how much more. Christine hosted her weekly gathering. 6 women from her charity circle arrived in designer clothes, all fake smiles and practiced laughs. Daniel, trimming hedges near the open patio doors, heard every word. "Children," Christine called sweetly, "come greet our guests." Sophia and Ethan appeared, dressed in matching designer outfits. Both looked exhausted. "Oh my goodness, they're like little dolls," one woman cooed. "How do you keep them so well behaved?" another asked. Christine smiled with pride. "It's simple, really. Clear expectations, firm consequences. Most parents are too soft. They want to be friends with their children instead of leaders." "Brilliant," a third woman said. Daniel's recorder was running. "Say hello, children," Christine commanded. "Good afternoon, ladies," Sophia said, her voice flat and mechanical. Louder. "Good afternoon, ladies." Better. Now upstairs. Adults are talking. "Yes, Mrs. Hartwell." The moment the children disappeared, one woman laughed. "You're so strict, Christine. I could never." "That's because you lack self-discipline," Christine replied smoothly. "Children are like dogs. They need firm hands, clear boundaries, and consistent punishment. Otherwise, they become wild animals." She'd just compared his children to dogs. Daniel gripped the hedge trimmers so hard his hands ached. The recorder captured every word. But what happened next would change everything. That evening, Daniel was cleaning up his tools when he heard raised voices from Sophia's room. He positioned himself beneath the window. "What is this?" Christine's voice. "A drawing," Sophia answered quietly. "Of whom?" "My mama." The sound of paper tearing. "Your mother is dead. I'm your mother now." "You're not my mama." Sophia's voice was trembling but defiant. "You'll never be my mama." The slap was louder this time, harder. Daniel was moving before he realized it, running toward the back door. But Maria appeared from nowhere and blocked his path. "Not yet," she whispered urgently. "I know what you want to do, but not yet. She just hit my daughter. And you got it recorded. But if you go in there now, you'll blow your cover, and she'll claim it never happened. You need more. You need witnesses." Maria's eyes were fierce. "Tomorrow, I promise you, tomorrow we end this." Daniel stood there, shaking with rage. Every fiber of his being screaming at him to storm inside. But Maria was right. He needed this airtight. "Tomorrow," he whispered. "But if she touches them again before then..." "She won't. I'm staying in the house tonight. I'll tell her I need to finish some cleaning. I'll be right outside their rooms." Maria squeezed his arm. "Trust me. One more day." That night, Daniel didn't sleep. He sat in his motel room, playing and replaying the recordings, building his case, preparing for tomorrow. At 3 a.m., his phone buzzed. A text from Maria. "She just checked on them. They're locked in their rooms from the outside. I have photos." Daniel's hands clenched into fists. Locked in, she was locking his children in their rooms at night. He texted back, "Tomorrow, no matter what." The response came immediately. "Tomorrow. I have a plan." Day 5 dawned bright and clear. Christine's most important social event yet. 8 prominent women from LA's elite philanthropic circle, all potential donors to Christine's pet project. She'd been planning this for weeks. Maria had explained the plan to Daniel in hushed whispers that morning. "She'll call the children down to perform for her guests. That's when she's most dangerous. She needs them perfect. If anything goes wrong..." "It'll trigger her," Daniel finished. "Exactly. And that's when we need something to go wrong." By noon, The patio was set with expensive china and crystal. Christine, dressed in an ivory designer suit, was the picture of elegance. Her guests arrived and champagne flowed. "Children," Christine called, "come say hello." Sophia and Ethan appeared, dressed like tiny adults. Daniel, trimming roses nearby, saw the exhaustion in their eyes. They'd barely slept, locked in their rooms. "Perfect angels," Christine purred to her guests. "They've learned structure, discipline, order." Then Maria did exactly what she'd planned. As she served drinks, she accidentally placed a glass of water too close to the edge of the table, right where Ethan would walk past. The little boy's hand caught it as he turned. Crystal shattered across expensive tile. Time seemed to freeze. Christine's face transformed. The mask of elegance cracked and fell away. Pure rage replaced it. "You clumsy little..." She raised her hand, palm open, aimed directly at Ethan's face. Every guest gasped. Maria moved like lightning, stepping between Christine and the child. The slap that was meant for Ethan's face connected with Maria's cheek instead. The crack echoed across the silent patio. "I won't let you hit him," Maria said, voice shaking but clear. "He's 4 years old. It was an accident." Christine's fury exploded. "You're fired. Get out of my house immediately." "Your house? Your children?" Maria's voice rose. "You've been terrorizing these kids for months, starving them, hitting them, locking them in their rooms at night. How dare you? I dare because someone has to." Maria pulled out her phone. "I have photos, videos, evidence, and I've already sent everything to Child Protective Services." Christine's face went white. "You're lying." "Am I?" Maria held up her phone, showing a sent email timestamp. The guests looked at each other in shock and horror. Christine lunged at Maria, but froze as a voice spoke from behind her. "She's not lying." Everyone turned. Daniel stepped onto the patio and removed his cap. His hands went to his face, peeling away the beard that had hidden him for 5 days. The world stopped. Christine staggered backward, her face cycling through confusion, recognition, and absolute horror. "Daniel?" she whispered. "But you're in Tokyo." "No, Christine, I've been here, every single day." He pulled the digital recorder from his pocket. "Watching you, recording you, documenting every moment of abuse." One of the guests screamed. Another dropped her champagne glass. "You've been spying on me?" Christine's voice was shrill with panic. "I've been protecting my children from a monster." Daniel pressed play on the recorder. Christine's voice filled the patio. "Children are like dogs. They need firm hands and consistent punishment." Then, "You're stupid. Mentally deficient." Then, "Maybe hunger will teach you." Then, the sound of a slap. The guests looked horrified. Several stood to leave. "Turn it off!" Christine shrieked. "No!" Daniel's voice was steel. "Let them hear who you really are. Let them hear what you did to 2 innocent children whose only crime was having a mother who died and a father who was blind enough to let you into their lives." He played more. The threats, the food deprivation, the locked doors. Christine's carefully constructed social facade shattered completely. "This is entrapment, illegal. I'll sue you for everything." "You'll do nothing." Daniel stepped closer. "Because my attorney has copies of everything. So does Child Protective Services, thanks to Maria. So does the LAPD. You're done, Christine. I'm their legal mother. You're a child abuser. And as of this moment, you have a restraining order being filed. You're not to come within 500 feet of my children ever again." Christine looked around desperately, searching for sympathy, for support, for anything. Found nothing but disgusted faces. "This is my home. This house is in my name. The cars are in my name. Every account you've been spending from is mine. You have nothing here. You are nothing here." Daniel's voice was quiet, but absolute. You have 2 hours to pack your belongings and leave. If you're still here when the police arrive with the restraining order, you'll be arrested. For a moment, Christine just stood there, her designer suit wrinkled, her perfect hair disheveled, her mask completely destroyed. Then something in her broke. She lunged not at Daniel, but at Sophia, who was standing in the doorway. "This is your fault, you little—" Daniel moved faster than he ever had in his life. He caught Christine's wrist mid-swing, his grip like iron. "Touch my daughter," he said, his voice deadly calm, "and I will dedicate every resource I have, every connection, every dollar to ensuring you never work again, never enter polite society again, never have a moment of peace for the rest of your life." He released her wrist, and she stumbled backward. "Get out!" Christine fled into the house. The sound of her heels clicking against marble echoed like a countdown. The guests gathered their things in stunned silence and left without a word. Quiet settled over the patio. Then a small voice. "Daddy?" Daniel turned to see Sophia standing in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Behind her, Ethan clutched his rescued penguin, his eyes wide. "Daddy, is it really you?" Daniel dropped to his knees as both children ran to him. He wrapped them in his arms, holding them as they sobbed, their small bodies shaking against his. "I'm here, babies. I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner, but I'm here now." His voice broke. "And I promise you, I swear on your mother's memory, no one will ever hurt you again." "She was so mean," Sophia sobbed into his shoulder. "She was so mean and I was so scared. I know, sweetheart, I know. But she's gone now. She's gone forever." Maria stood nearby, one hand still pressed to her reddening cheek, tears streaming down her face. Daniel looked up at her. "You saved them. When I couldn't, when I was too blind to see, you saved them." "They saved me too," Maria said softly. "They reminded me what courage looks like." Ethan reached out from Daniel's arms toward Maria. She laughed through her tears and took his little hand. "Let's get you both some real food," Daniel said. "When's the last time you had a proper meal?" "Yesterday," Sophia said quietly. "Maria snuck us food after Christine went to bed." Daniel looked at Maria. "Stay, please. Not as an employee, as family. We need you." Maria smiled through her tears. "I'm not going anywhere." Inside, Daniel made waffles while Sophia and Ethan sat at the counter, finally safe. Finally allowed to be children again. Maria made hot chocolate. Sunlight poured through the windows, and for the first time in months, the house felt like a home. Christine left without another word. A car came. The door closed. The nightmare ended. That evening, after the children were bathed and fed and tucked into bed, Daniel sat with Maria in the kitchen. "The recordings," she said. "That was brilliant." "It was desperate." Daniel shook his head. 5 days ago, I thought I was going insane, that maybe I was being paranoid, but then I saw it, really saw it. You did what you had to do to protect them. So did you. You risked your job, your safety, everything. Maria smiled. Some things are worth the risk. They sat in comfortable silence. "What happens now?" Maria asked. "Now? The custody hearing is in 2 weeks. My attorney says with the recordings, the photos you took, and your testimony, it's airtight. Christine will never see them again." "And after that?" Daniel looked toward the stairs where his children slept peacefully for the first time in months. "After that, we heal. We build. We become a family again." "We?" He met her eyes. "If you'll stay." Maria's smile was radiant. "I told you, I'm not going anywhere." 6 months later, on a bright Saturday morning, the Hartwell house buzzed with life. Sophia's 9th birthday party filled the garden with laughter. Real laughter. the kind that had been missing for so long. Daniel stood by the grill, flipping burgers, watching his daughter play with her friends. She'd gained weight. Color had returned to her cheeks. She smiled constantly now. Real smiles. Ethan ran past, chasing another child, his penguin abandoned on a chair because he no longer needed to carry it everywhere for comfort. "They're different kids," Michael said, appearing beside Daniel with a beer. "Completely different." "They're themselves again," Daniel corrected. "This is who they were before." The custody hearing went well. Judge granted full custody, permanent restraining order. Christine's not allowed within 500 feet, ever. She appealed. Dropped it last week. Her attorneys heard the recordings and told her she'd be lucky to avoid criminal charges. Michael smiled. Justice. Yeah. Daniel watched Maria playing with the kids, her laughter mixing with theirs. Justice. That night, after the last guest left and the children were asleep, Daniel and Maria sat on the back patio under string lights. The same patio where the nightmare had ended. "Do you ever think about that day?" Maria asked. "When you took off the beard?" "Every time I'm out here." "Regrets? About exposing her?" "Never. About not doing it sooner?" "Every single day." Maria shook her head. "You did it when you could. That's what matters." They sat in comfortable silence, hands intertwined. "The kids asked me something today," Daniel said. "Sophia wanted to know if you were staying forever." "What did you tell her?" "That I hoped so." He turned to face her. "Maria, these past 6 months, watching you with them, seeing how much they love you, how much they need you." He paused. "How much I've come to need you." Maria's breath caught. "I'm not asking you to replace Jennifer. No one could. But I'm asking if you'd consider being part of this family, officially, permanently." "Daniel, you don't have to answer now. I just needed you to know." She kissed him, gentle and brief, but enough to stop his rambling. "Yes," she said when she pulled back. "To all of it, yes." Inside the house, Sophia appeared at her bedroom window. She couldn't sleep, so she'd gotten up for water. Now she stood watching her father and Maria on the patio, seeing them smile at each other, and warmth spread through her chest. Everything was different now. Better. Safe. She climbed back into bed, pulled up her covers, and for the first time in over a year, fell asleep without fear. Because home wasn't scary anymore. Home was Saturday birthday parties, and Maria's hot chocolate, and Dad's terrible jokes. Home was knowing the people who loved you would fight for you, even if it meant wearing a disguise and hiding in gardens for 5 days. Home was safe again. So let me ask you something before we finish this story. If you were in Daniel's position, what would you have done? Would you have confronted Christine immediately? Would you have hired investigators? Or would you have taken the same risky path, becoming invisible in your own home to protect the people you love most? The truth is, we never know how far we'll go until we're tested. We never know our own strength until we're forced to use it. And we never truly understand love until we're willing to sacrifice everything for it. Daniel Hartwell learned that lesson in 5 days that changed everything. His courage to act, Maria's bravery to intervene, and 2 children's resilience created something beautiful from something broken. Because that's what real families do. They fight for each other. They protect each other. And they heal together. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories of courage, justice, and second chances. Drop a comment below telling us what you would have done in Daniel's shoes and where you're watching from right now. We read every single comment and love hearing from you. Until next time, remember that sometimes the greatest act of love is knowing when to take off the mask and fight for what matters most. Thanks for watching Billionaire Bedtime Stories. We'll see you in the next one.